we've been speaking about this recently, and I read about it in the book as well. I've always said I'm a visual and like audio learner, but
No more.
apparently that's not a thing.
It's made up.
Yeah, so that's I found that really interesting. Could you tell us a little bit more about how that works?
Yeah, I think this is so important for education because most teachers around the world have been taught, just like you were, that every student has a learning style. Some of us are auditory learners. We learn by listening. We like listening to podcasts, for example. Others are verbal or visual learners. We like to read. And some are kinesthetic learners. We learn by doing. And it turns out this is a myth. Decades of research show that you might have a way that you like to learn, but you don't actually learn better in that medium. And sometimes the medium that's hard for you actually leads to more learning because you have to work more at it. And so I think we have to get out of the comfort zone of our learning styles and stop pigeonholing ourselves by saying, well, I only learn one way. Reality is different mediums are good for different things. So listening is better for immersion. It's better for emotion. Reading with your eyes is actually better for memory and for critical thinking.
Do they know why that is?
It's a really good question. I don't know that I've seen totally convincing evidence on the mechanisms, but I think part of what's happening is when you listen, you can be drawn in by the charisma of the speaker. And people can get away with a sloppy argument. You're also less likely to replay what you're listening to. Whereas when you read, there are natural stopping points. There's a period, there's a comma.
Yeah. And do you think as well, when you sit down to go and read something, it's almost like you're in a mindset where you're like, okay, I have to really focus. I have to really learn. Whereas when you're listening to someone, it's more of like a relaxed, like comforting type of thing.
That's fascinating. I've never thought about that before, but intuitively, I think you're right. Reading a book it demands total concentration. Most of the podcast listening I do, I'm doing something else.
Yeah, it's
I'm
passive.
either I'm trying to fall asleep. I'm driving. I'm taking out the garbage. I'm at the dentist occasionally. And maybe you're just multitasking more. Although I know in some of the controlled experiments that have done the comparison, you're not given another task. And so you're consuming the exact same information, either hearing it or reading it. And even then, there's a critical thinking and memory advantage for reading with your eyes.
That's fascinating. I really wonder why that is. But that brings us to a really, another interesting point. We want to know, what was the moment or the stimulus that made you think, I need to write this book, which is Hidden Potentials?
I was on book tour for my previous book, Think Again, and somebody asked me what my proudest accomplishment was. And I thought about it, and I had a couple of candidates, and they were all things that I started out bad at. And I thought that was interesting because the narrative that in the US that I was introduced to about success was play to your strengths. And yet my proudest achievements were when I played to my weaknesses. And I thought that was intriguing. And then I wanted to know, well, why was I proud of those accomplishments? Because I had to travel a great distance in order to reach them. And I felt like the things that came naturally to me, like I didn't really earn them. Like I have a good memory, and I'd gotten a lot of praise for, like, somebody asked me a question and I can rattle off the study and the authors and the sources, and like, should I be proud of this mental library of knowledge I carry around? No, it's just there. Like, I didn't work for it. Things I read, they just stick. Learning to become a writer after failing a writing test in university and being assigned to remedial writing, yeah, that took real effort. And so I feel like I earned more of that. Getting good at public speaking. When I'm an introvert, I'm shy, and I was terrified of being on stage. I felt like that was more my effort. And so I guess at some point I realized my most meaningful accomplishments have been in areas where I had hidden potential. I had a capacity for growth that was invisible to me, and frankly invisible to some of the people around me. And eventually I thought, you know what? I've lived this, and there's a lot of evidence about how. It's time to write the book.
Why do you think that is, that whenever something is given to us, we don't really take pride in it, but when we earn it the hard way, that's when it feels rewarding?
I think we want to feel responsible for our results. And so, if you're born with a natural gift for something, you might credit your parents for it. Or more accurately, you might credit your genes for it, which your parents didn't deliberately pass on to you. And that means it wasn't you at the end of the day. There's no sense of ownership. I think when you initially struggle at something and you get better at it, you can not only take pride in the outcome, you also get to see your progress along the way. And you remember the choices you made, and the adjustments that you had to make in order to get there. And I think that makes it feel like something that when you have to overcome an obstacle, or turn a, I guess the way that I've thought about it is you sort of run into a barrier. And then you say, okay, well, opportunity didn't knock. Well, let me try to build a door. And if you built the door, you're like, okay, I get to open it.
Hi guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please remember to like and subscribe. All the best.